Am I the a-hole for not inviting my daughter to my wedding? I, 46 male, am getting married to my fiancée, 39 female. We have been together for 3 years. I have 2 daughters, 18 female, 9 female, from previous relationships, and my youngest's mother left when she was 6. My fiancée is a very sophisticated person and have exquisite tastes. She also does not really care for young children, and this has created tension between her and my youngest daughter. While our plans have been delayed due to global circumstances, our plans to get married are finally going ahead. It's going to be a very lavish and expensive wedding. Due to the nature of the wedding and my fiancé's preferences, our wedding is also going to be child-free. We will, however, be inviting my oldest as she is no longer a child, and because unlike my youngest, her and my fiancé get along well. However, I didn't realize that my youngest expected to come to the wedding. She tried to tag along with my fiancé oldest when they were going shopping for a dress for my oldest, because she thought she was going to need a dress too. I explained to her that the wedding was going to be for adults only, and that she wouldn't be attending. She started crying and getting mad, which stressed out my fiancé. She has been distraught about this for days and hasn't let it go. Then my parents came by to visit today, and my youngest told them what had happened. When they asked for clarification on the situation, I explained to them that my daughter wouldn't be attending the wedding because the child-free rule applied to her as well. Besides, this wedding would not be suitable for a child, and I don't want my fiancé to have to deal with my daughter on the most important day of her life. My parents told me I was being a terrible father by prioritizing my fiancé over my daughter, and that on the day of the wedding they would take my daughter out for a special day, which means they wouldn't be in the wedding. I told them they couldn't do that. Even if they didn't attend the wedding, I wouldn't let them take my daughter. And this has become a bigger conflict than I intended. My fiancé and I both think we're in the right for wanting a child-free wedding, but it appears I may lose my parents from the wedding over this, and I want to know if I'm in the right or not. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Yeah, dude. If your fiancé and a 9-year-old don't get along, that's because of an issue with your fiancé. How can you even say, unlike my youngest, her and my fiancé get along well? She's 9 years old. She's a child. It's not up to her to get along with your fiancé. You're the a-hole. She's a 9-year-old. I mean, come on. Your fiancé should not be your fiancé if she can't love your kid. That's about to be her mother, and your prioritization is going to ruin your relationship with your daughter long-term, especially if you don't let her attend the wedding. You're the a-hole. Both you and your fiancé. I hope you change your mind and choose your daughter's happiness over your selfish bride-to-be. Agreed. The kid is a young child. How is she supposed to make a future with the two of you as her parental role models if she gets pushed so far aside? Perhaps allow her to participate in the ceremony and beginning of the reception, then taken out by a sitter. And you guys are a family. It is not your fiancé's day alone. This is a major change for all 4 of you. If your lady is so willing to forget your daughter at this stage of the game, it isn't going to get better. Get ready to pay the therapy bills. You have kids, are marrying a woman who doesn't like kids, are surprised that your younger daughter, who will be a family unit with you and your fiancé, would like to go to the wedding. Go shocked Pikachu face when your parents call you out for being a horrible father. What a better way to let your kid know that they don't matter than to not include them to the ceremony celebrating your union to her new parent. Solid gold a-hole. You're the a-hole, OP. What do you do for an encore? Drop your youngest at a bus stop and wish her good luck in her new life? Throw out her things and turn her bedroom into a walk-in closet for the missus who has refined tastes? Not let your daughter eat dinner with you? Send her off to boarding school, since the new stepmom doesn't like kids. Fortunately, she is very sophisticated and has exquisite tastes, all except for where it applies to men, and how to successfully navigate relationships with their families. You're the a-hole, OP. You may not just lose your parents from the wedding, you're very likely also going to lose your daughter, permanently. You're the a-hole. I don't know why you are marrying a woman who isn't willing to take you and your children as whole package, and you've handled this entire situation terribly. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my twin that she should have worked on herself instead of expecting me to let myself go for her wedding? My twin sister May and I are identical. At the end of our first year of college, I was in a car accident, and I ended up with a facial scar and major trauma. I started seeing a therapist because of the nightmares. and the fact that I was panicking anytime I got into a car. That led to me realizing there were some deeper issues, which we worked on. As part of that work, I got a physical, started working with a dietitian to fix my diet, and a smorgasbord of vitamin deficiencies it caused. I started working out, strength training 3 days and sprint or high-intensity interval trainings on 3, with our older sister. By the end of our first year of college, we had each gained about 30 pounds. By the end of the next year, I had lost half of it, but I was smaller at 134 pounds than my previous 120 because of the muscle mass. And that's been my size for the past half-decade. I found a new beautician, and she gave me long layers to make my natural curls be curls instead of wave of frizz I always wanted, but that my old one said would look bad and refused. I stopped bleaching it and let it go its natural dark blonde/light brown. I stopped spray tanning. Again, that's been my look for the past 5 years. I live in a rural area and the internet isn't great. Things like FaceTime just aren't options, and I can't post a lot of pictures on social media because of it. This is relevant because a big issue is that May didn't see me over the quarantine. We talked on phone a couple times a week, but it mostly revolved around her wedding planning. She got engaged before the Rona put us on lockdown. I wasn't her maid of honor, so mostly I was being told decisions, not involved in the process. When it came to the bridesmaids' dresses, May just sent our sister-in-law and me a link and told us to get it in our size. Same with hair and makeup, but we had to arrange for a beautician because May's wouldn't do more than 4, and she wanted her friends at the appointment with her. Then she didn't do a bachelorette party with us. She did with her friends, or rehearsal dinner. So May didn't see any of us until the start of the wedding. She was livid. Apparently, she thought we would have stopped working out because of the Rona, or that we would have stopped when she announced her engagement so we didn't upstage her. She was also mad because I didn't try to hide my scar and didn't tan, and thought it would be implied. She made several snide remarks before throwing a drunk temper tantrum at the reception, basically accusing the 3 of us, but me especially, of trying to upstage her. I don't have that excuse because I was a designated driver, so sober. But I, quite famously, have a low tolerance for angry or crying drunks. I told her, if you're so insecure, you should have got off your butt, instead of expecting us to lay on hours to make yours look better. It only got worse from there. Our family is on my side because I didn't start it or do anything, but Groom's family and her friends are giving me crap. So am I the a-hole? A wedding day is probably the day where your sister should have been the center of attention. Well, she did an exceptional job of that. Now everyone will remember her as Bridezilla. Not the a-hole at all, but I would suggest she works on herself. Maybe appoint a therapy session for both of you to improve this relationship? If both of you want, of course. Not the a-hole. Your sister sounds like a majorly entitled Bridezilla. How are none of you, her bridesmaids, not invited to the bachelorette or the rehearsal dinner? Shaking my head. Yeah, how does that even happen? As bridesmaids, they are part of the wedding party, and therefore should be at the rehearsal dinner. I've never heard of such a thing, but then again, I am older than dirt and times might have changed. Not the a-hole. You went through a lot, and instead of being proud of you for facing your fears, your sister has been incredibly selfish. Seriously, it sounds like she wanted to get married just to feel good about herself, rather than because she truly loves someone. Has she always been like this? To be honest, it's gotten worse since the accident. I don't really know what set it off then, but it's been worse. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for pulling out of my brother's wedding because my old tormentors will be there? My brother Ben is getting married and his fiancée Faith went to the same high school as me. I used to be mercilessly harassed in high school and didn't have any friend, which led to a horrible period of depression and anxiety. I now mainly deal with suppressing those memories and cutting off contact with people I knew from high school. Faith used to be part of a mean girl clique who were especially terrible to me, but to be fair, she was more of a follower of the clique. She never directly mistreated me, but she used to just laugh along when her clique made fun of me. When Ben started dating Faith, I was shocked and had a hard time dealing with it because it brought back what her clique used to do to me. But if I ever bring up something they did, Faith usually just laughs it off, saying she doesn't remember, and that they were probably just young and stupid. It took a lot of convincing by Ben, and a lot of time working on myself for me to finally forgive Faith and accept her as my brother's girlfriend. They are now engaged, and Ben asked me to be his best woman. I accepted, and even agreed to help out with Faith's side of wedding events because her maid of honor has too much on her plate. The wedding planning has been going smoothly so far, until Faith told me she was going to invite her high school clique to her bachelorette party when she can have it. I immediately felt the old anxiety come back, and asked her if they will be invited to the wedding too. She said yes, and learning that nearly crushed me. I spent some time thinking about it, and I don't think I could be at the wedding if those people are there. Faith at least never tortured me herself, so I can handle it, but seeing her gang leaders again would very likely trigger my depression, or worse, send me into a panic attack at the wedding itself. I told Ben that I might need to pull out of the wedding because of that, but I can still help however I can with the wedding planning, as long as I don't come in contact with Faith's old gang. Ben is very upset, and says I'm only thinking of myself, and clearly I don't want to be at his wedding because I still don't accept Faith as his future wife. He also told me I should move on from whatever happened in high school, but even if I try to do that, a high-stress event like this wedding would be the worst time to test if moving on works. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm sick and tired of people telling emotional scarred victims to move on because it wasn't childhood. I know people are horrible accepting any kind of consequences, but rarely what type of mistreatment is so dismissed and mocked as the school abuse. Oh, it's fine. You spent your formative years tormented by your peers. Why can't you move on? The whole situation is so ridiculous, as if just because it was fellow children tormenting you, it's suddenly fine? And then we're labeled as pathetic, because in our adulthood we have to deal with the consequences of it that was indeed carried out by at the time children, but also supported and endorsed by adults. People whose job should have been protecting us and setting a good example. Nope, to hell with that. She will never stop triggering you, and the least you can do for yourself is not go to the wedding to have a smile on the face of the people who tormented you. Mind you, you are being considerate. You have trauma. There is no guarantee you'll be able to look happy at the wedding no matter how hard you try. An unhappy guest at a wedding is a crappy guest. You're doing them a favor. Also, Faith remembers full well. Do with that info as you will, but she's full of it when she claims she forgot. If she were truly worthy of your forgiveness, she'd have a big talk with you, deeply apologize with no excuses, acknowledge your trauma, and disinvite her clique because they are her high school friends and you are her sister-in-law. This, just all of this. OP not a-hole, but everyone else in this story is. Not a-hole. Fiancée never apologized for what she and her friends put you through. She just made excuses. Have you told her how upsetting it is to see those people? Talk to her directly. If she blows you off, you know she doesn't care about you and has no loyalty to family. You would not be the a-hole if you pull out of the wedding because of that. I haven't told Faith because I thought it would cause less drama if I told my brother. And I'm at a wedding party on my brother's side too, so it makes more sense. Plus, Faith knows I didn't want her around at the beginning of their relationship, which caused a rough patch for all three of us. So I learned that it's better to talk to Ben directly than talking to Faith and then having it come back to Ben as me having an issue with her. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling future sister-in-law she was wasting her parents' money on a wedding? I, 32 female, have a brother Andre, 34 male, who is engaged to Molly, 30 female. We come from a humble middle-class family that values hard work with their hands, farmers and factory workers. Andre is a factory supervisor at a car parts manufacturing business, and I help manage an apartment complex. Molly, however, comes from a family with money. Her parents grew up poor, but her dad worked a good line job in the 90s. Her mom was a corporate lawyer, and now her family's loaded. Both her siblings and her have what I call a spoiled complex. Molly and Andre revealed yesterday that they would be having a big, beautiful wedding. They began listing things off that they want: limo, dress designer, venue, etc. When I mentioned how expensive all that would be, Molly said she wasn't worried. When I asked why, she said her parents gave her $50,000 cash for her wedding, as they believe it is the responsibility of the bride's parents to pay for the wedding. Yes, I live in the States. I couldn't believe it. I felt Molly was spending money frivolously. I told her she should invest that money instead of having a huge wedding. She promptly told me that whenever I get a man, that I can do just that, and to not tell her what to do with her money. Andre chuckled, but I didn't find it funny. It is not her money, it's her parents. Molly's a teacher and doesn't make that much, So I think this is a great opportunity to get ahead financially. Andre, of course, took her side and told me to mind my business. Then today, Andre called me. We talk often, and I asked if he was seriously going to let her waste $50,000 in one day. He said that's not his place to tell her how to spend her family's money, but I disagree. Andre told me to mind my own business again, but I think he's making a mistake marrying someone who just throws money around. I must have been on speakerphone because Molly responded with, "And that's why you're single, because you can't mind your damn business." She then called me jealous, and Andre's on her side. I'm not jealous, but I know weddings shouldn't be that much. Andre said Molly knows how to handle money because her parents taught her, but I think this is a mistake. And my parents agree that Molly's just flaunting wealth for no reason. But Andre says Molly's more financially responsible than any of us, stating she helps him manage his 401k and started a Roth IRA for him when they met. But I just can't believe that she's financially responsible if she's going to waste $50,000 in one day. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You do sound jealous that Molly's family's able to and wants to help her out. Get off your high horse. You're the a-hole. In Molly's words, mind your own business. People get to spend their money however they see fit. Cracks me up that Opie said, it's not her money, it's her parents. Yes, Opie, that's literally the point. It's not your money, it's her parents' money. Now her and brother's money. And her parents decided to gift it to her and Andre for their wedding. Molly was also on point with that. She promptly told me that whenever I get a man, that I can do just that, and to not tell her what to do with her money. That's fact. Opie can have a frugal wedding when she marries, but she can't tell people what to do with their money for their wedding. You're the a-hole. Also, the money was earmarked by her parents for the wedding. So if anything, she's respecting their wishes for their money by using it for the purpose it was intended. But the point is moot regardless, since it is her money considering they gave it to her, but just another way that Opie's logic is flawed. I hate to break it to you, but you're the a-hole. Molly's right, you should mind your own business. It's not your money nor your wedding. I could understand if it was your parents' money that you might be upset, but this is her parents' money. And if they want to spend $50,000 on a wedding, they can. If you want to continue to have a relationship with your brother and his future wife, just leave the situation alone.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to split my bonus with my girlfriend? I, 27 male, work in sales, and this past year has been one of my best professionally. I hit all my targets, closed some tough deals, and as a result, I earned a pretty decent year-end bonus, about $5,000. I was honestly really proud of myself. I've been working long hours and dealing with a lot of stress to make this happen. So seeing that bonus hit my account felt like a huge personal win. My very first thought was about my student loans. I've been aggressively paying them down for the past couple of years, and I'm finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I thought, great, I can throw almost all of this at the balance and make a serious dent. That financial freedom is something I've been dreaming about. Later that night, I told my girlfriend, 26 female, about the bonus. We've been dating for about 2 years, and I was excited to share the good news with her. She immediately lit up and started talking about how we could take a trip together, something like a weekend getaway, or even an international trip, since the bonus was extra money. I told her I'd love to travel with her someday, but realistically, I want to use the bulk of the money to pay down my debt. That's when her mood shifted. She got quiet then upset and told me that since we've been together for 2 years, my money isn't just mine anymore. She argued that when you're serious about someone, your finances should benefit both of you, and that if I see her in my future, I should want to spend this money on us, making memories instead of, as she put it, throwing it into a black hole of debt. I reminded her that we don't live together, we don't share finances, and I've never once expected her to spend her money on me or cover things for us. I also told her that paying off debt is not just for me, it's for our future as well. If we do end up living together or getting married, having less debt will only make things easier for both of us. She didn't seem convinced. She said I was being selfish and accused me of choosing debt over making memories. Since that conversation, she's been distant and cold. I even found out from a mutual friend that she's been telling people I don't prioritize her and that I care more about money than about our relationship. I honestly don't think I'm wrong for wanting to use my bonus to better my financial situation. I feel like I'm making a responsible choice. But now I'm second-guessing myself because of her reaction. Am I the a-hole for keeping my bonus for myself and putting it toward debt instead of spending it on a trip for the two of us? Now for the top comments. You realize if you sign any legal documents partnering with this woman and it goes sour, she's coming for all of your money, right? Actually, never mind. She's coming for your money now. Yeah, seriously. Sounds like she's claiming our money way too early. Keeping it for debt is the smart move. Mixing finances before living together usually blows up. Not the a-hole. It's your girlfriend, not your wife. I'm a wife, and even then what my husband does with his yearly bonus is entirely up to him. I mean, as long as we're not in a bad place financially, then I'd summon all hands on deck to put the financial fire out. Not the a-hole, and please rethink this relationship. Marriages are often made miserable by a core difference in financial matters. Before you go much further, I'd ask to see hers, as I have a feeling she may be more relaxed about debt. Remember, her debt becomes yours when you marry, unless you get a prenup that specifically spells out that it's not. Even then, that will only cover the debt she's run up prior to marriage. Anything else will be on you. Just a thought, and of course, throw your bonus at your loans. Why on earth would you keep paying interest on money when you could knock some of it off right now? Insane. Memories can be made from next to nothing. Next story. My wife won't talk to me anymore. My wife, 31 female, and I, 46 male, have been together for 6 years, married for 2. She used to talk to me all the time. She used to share her day with me, just randomly tell me her thoughts, stuff like that. However, she also used to want to talk about problems we were having. A lot. It felt like we were always talking about what I did wrong. She thought I spent too much time talking to exes. We were friends. I don't prioritize her over work. It's my career. Am I supposed to quit? And mostly that I didn't care enough about her. It was so many different ways that she came to that conclusion. But it was like we were just always sitting down for a serious talk. So, I told her about a year ago that I didn't want to talk anymore. I was just tired of hearing everything I was doing wrong. I provide everything we need. Can I just have a break? I told her that if she had a problem with the way I did things, then she could get out of my house and we'd get a divorce. She told me that she was trying to communicate because she didn't feel appreciated and that I had one foot out the door. But I think that's ridiculous. I know it's harsh, but I was at my wit's end. So now a year later, she barely talks to me at all. When I ask about her day, she says, fine. When I talk to her about work or politics or my day, she says, oh wow, cool, and kind of walks away. Her attitude isn't bad. She's very sweet, but it's just like she doesn't care anymore. I didn't want to talk about our problems anymore, but I didn't mean stop talking, period. We really don't talk about anything that doesn't have to do with our life or household. In the evenings, she just turns on the TV and we watch something until bed. Now I don't know what to do, because I just found out today that she won a pretty big award at her job, and she didn't tell me. Last Friday, she said she had to work late, and it was cool. I didn't ask. Today, I found out that she was really at a dinner where she was celebrated for this award. She invited some of her friends and her mom and brothers. I ran into her brother at the store today, and he mentioned the dinner and said that he was sorry I couldn't make it. I asked what he meant, and he said the dinner, how I wasn't able to go because I was sick. I asked him to explain the whole thing to me, so now he knows too. What am I supposed to do? Is she punishing me or something? Do I tell her that I know? Why wouldn't she tell me? I didn't think she'd take it this far, and now I'm thinking she's being petty. Does anyone have experience here? I love my wife and I'd do anything for her, but I'm so confused. Edit. A couple people are asking about the exes. I have close contact with 3 of my exes. My previous wife calls me when she needs to talk. Her and her husband don't get along. I have 2 ex-girlfriends who I am still friends with, and I was friends with them when I met my wife now. My wife doesn't like them because she says that they cross boundaries. But honest to God, they are just friendly and we ended in good terms. It's nothing serious and I just don't want to give my friends up. You spend a lot of time talking to exes and your wife is upset. Go figure. How would you feel if she was always talking to her exes? So easily brushing aside her concerns is indicative of your general self-centeredness. To make matters worse, rather than listening to how she feels, you just tell her to get out of the house. Dude, listen to yourself. I now understand why it is important for women to have their own funds so they can have an exit strategy when their husband ends up being cold, selfish, insensitive, and unloving. Sadly, it sounds like your wife has no way out and is stuck with you, so she bears her miserable existence with you in silence. Why don't you put her out of her misery and divorce her? I know that what I said was harsh, and I have honestly apologized to her. It was a heated situation, but I do know that it was probably the catalyst here. I don't want to divorce her. I care about her a lot more than she knows. I don't understand how she doesn't see it. I just want to know what I should do from here. You pushed her away and now are trying to play dumb. She tried to talk and communicate. You told her to either stop or get out of your house and divorce. You got what you wanted. Why are you now upset when the rabbits got the gun? By the way, she's likely getting ready to leave you. Google walk away wife. So when it happens, don't cry the woe is me card and that it blindsided you. The good news is, it sounds like he'll have a great relationship with her once they're divorced because he likes to talk to his exes more than his wife. Next story. I made my girlfriend cry for admitting that my best friend is more attractive than her. I, 25 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 24 female, for almost a year now. Before we became official, we were friends for at least 4 years. Other than my girlfriend, the second most important person in my life is my best friend, 24 female. We've been best friends for more than a decade, and she's been there for me for all my lowest points. I literally would not have survived this long without her. Our relationship is purely platonic. I admit that I've had a crush on her before, but we both admitted that it would be better for us to stay as best friends, and that was that. She isn't the stereotype girl best friend either. She's just my best friend who just so happens to be female. She respects boundaries, and I'd like to believe that she genuinely just sees me as a friend, and vice versa. We've been each other's support systems for a long time, and even trust each other more than our own parents. Recently, my girlfriend asked me if I think she's prettier or more attractive than my best friend. For context, my best friend is a successful fashion model and influencer. She looks like your typical model. Tall, slender, clear skin, while my girlfriend is honestly short, quite chubby, and has a lot of acne. I love my girlfriend. I really do. She has social anxiety and thus sometimes goes for long periods of time without contacting me. But I've never once felt any doubt or temptation to cheat or find someone else. I accept and love her as she is. When she asked that question, I answered that yes, I believe my best friend is prettier or more attractive than her. I mean, come on. My girlfriend is a normal girl, and my best friend literally gets paid and receives lots of free stuff solely for her looks. She got offended and started crying. She hasn't talked to me in a while either. I don't understand why she's acting that way. I mean, the answer was obvious, but it doesn't make me love her any less. I clearly chose to date her instead of other women. I accept her as a whole package. I told my best friend about my answer, and she slapped me. Now, she's been on my butt to make it right. Was I expected to very blatantly lie to my girlfriend? Wouldn't it have been worse if it wasn't honest? Anyone with eyes could clearly see who was the more attractive one. Wouldn't it be a slap to her to just lie to her face that way? I don't get why I have to be the bad guy in this situation. Now for the top comments before reading the mini update. 25 years old is way too old to not understand how dumb that is. Who describes their girlfriend as short, quite chubby, and has a lot of acne? Like Jesus, that's brutal. If my partner described me like that, there would be a problem. Seriously, it's unreal. I can't understand how he didn't have one nice thing to say about her. One kind thing, being attracted to someone, is so much more than just what they look like. Anyone with eyes can see that. He actually just said that? What the heck? Dude just keeps digging his grave. Shaking my head. Are you sure you aren't interested in your best friend more than your actual girlfriend? Because I get those vibes. You can tell the best friend doesn't want him though and never will. What a good person. Hope the girlfriend finds someone better. Now for the mini update. I was able to talk to her. She apparently told other people about the situation, and everyone, including her own mother, sides with me. She shouldn't have been asking me questions like that when the answer was obvious. She apologized for even asking that question in the first place. To everyone saying I should have broken up with her, we're good. I'm feeling very betrayed by my best friend instead, because it's clear whose side she took. She's the only one who took my girlfriend's side. Most of the people we know are also upset at her. These are people who actually know us and the relationship. Last story. Am I the a-hole for shutting down my brother's proposal at my baby shower and then sending him a bill? I'm 29 female, due in November with our first baby. We planned a small mixed baby shower at a local village hall. Some nibbles, silly games, a couple of speeches. Me and my husband paid for most of it. My mother-in-law chipped in for desserts. It wasn't anything mad, but it was our little celebration. A week before the shower, my brother, 26 male, texted asking if he could propose to his girlfriend during the party because the whole family will be there. I told him no. I said I'd be thrilled to help plan something special literally any other day, but I really wanted to keep the shower about, the baby. He kicked off a bit and got my mom involved, who said it would be so lovely, and 2 birds, 1 stone. I said no again, and thought that was the end of it. On the day during the toasts, my mom calls my brother up to say a few words. He starts chatting about love and family, and I see him pat his pocket. He turns to his girlfriend and starts to go down on one knee. I stood up, walked over, took the mic, not yanking it honestly, and said, "Hey, we love you guys, but we're not doing this today. Let's please keep today focused on the baby. We'll help you celebrate properly soon, I promise." The room went dead quiet. His girlfriend looked mortified and legged it to the loose. My brother got angry, said I'd embarrassed him, and left. The rest of the shower was awkward. Afterwards, a few family members said I did the right thing, and that proposals at other people's dues are tacky. Others said I should have just let it happen and not caused a scene. That night, the family group chat blew up. My mom said I was controlling, and that she'd cleared a surprise moment with the venue, as if that's the point. I said I'd already told them both no, and that consent matters for parties too. My brother said I ruined his big moment, and that his girlfriend had planned to fly her sister over next month, so this was the only time everyone was together. I told him we would have all turned up for him whenever he asked. Right, here's where I might be the a-hole. The next morning, I sent my brother an itemized request to cover half of the hall hire and the extra drinks package, £220 total, since he tried to, in his words, make it our day too. I said if he wanted to use the party as his proposal venue, he could help pay for it. He hasn't paid, obviously, and now says I'm being petty and tight. I know sending a bill looks bad, but I was so hurt that he and my mum just ignored a boundary I'd clearly set. Since then, his girlfriend messaged me privately to apologize and said she had no idea he was planning to do it there. She also said she doesn't want their proposal tied to the memory of my baby shower anyway, which I totally get and was grateful for. I told her I was sorry for how awkward it was and would love to help them plan something nice later on. So, am I the a-hole for taking the mic and shutting him down? And am I an extra a-hole for the invoice? I'm willing to hear I handled it badly, but I also feel like if I'd let it happen, the whole shower would have just become about their engagement, and the baby would have been forgotten. If you were at a party and someone tried this, would you just let it happen or step in politely? What's a better way I could have handled it in the moment? I'm definitely willing to make up. I just don't want to set a precedent that my no doesn't actually mean anything. Not the a-hole. That is such a tacky thing to do. Also, lazy. He couldn't be asked to come up with a romantic moment of his own. Frankly, who cares if his family is there? Why would that matter to the girl? Like it's more important to him that his family see him propose than to make it a good proposal for his girlfriend? I feel like if you go around and ask most women what a good proposal would be, I want his entire family to be there, isn't going to come up 99% of the time. In fact, I think most women would rather have a romantic moment between the two of them, designed with her preferences in mind. My ex proposed in front of my parents on Christmas morning, and honestly, I kind of hated it. I was in my pajamas, didn't feel pretty at all, and it really felt like it was just so he wouldn't have to come up with a Christmas present. I had told him several times over the years that I wanted to be proposed to on a beach, and we live in a state with thousands of them. Is it really that hard to sit down and think, okay, I want to marry this person and spend my life with them. What is it that they would really want? Instead of, okay, what big event is coming up that I can use?